Hi, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you end up seeing this. I'm Carrie Burchell, and I have a mission to help people improve their interpersonal communication so that we have more trust on teams and between people. And of course, with trust comes just productivity. It's a crazy time right now. Lots of the clients that I have talk about the frustrations of being short staffed, employees that are not happy, employees that think that the other side is going to be easier, happier, better, brighter, and really driven by behaviors that are anxiety provoking. So we're anxious about everything being out of our control right now, right? We're grieving not having the sense of normalcy that we had before the pandemic. We're grieving that it's 2022 and the pandemic is still happening, that we can't really see a concrete end in sight. So all of these things that we're grieving, compounded by so many variables out of our control, create this innate anxiety. And that anxiety is something that we can really help people with. Now, I did a short 1 minute YouTube on this recently. Leaders, like it or not, have a responsibility to help people manage their anxiety. Now, when I kind of pitch this to people that I coach and in leadership training that I'm doing, everyone's like, bah, forget it, Carrie. I'm not a social worker. I'm not a psychologist. I don't want to get in people's business. In fact, yesterday I was doing some coach training and one of the leaders had just shared, like, I don't want to get in people's business. I don't want to ask them about stuff. Fair enough, right? We're not trying to be drama provoking and getting in people's business. We can help employees manage their anxiety without making it too personal or intimate or putting you as a leader in a role that makes you uncomfortable. So let me kind of talk through what the number one pervasive strategy is in all of this. So let's break down people's anxiety. First, do you know anything about me? My hand has to move for my brain to engage, so I am a whiteboard user. Old school. So here's what happens, right? People spin, and as leaders, we want to help them slow down so that we can kind of figure out what the root cause is down here. And then with that root cause, we can really do some nice problem solving, stuff that's sustainable, not like the quick fix. Okay, so everybody spins. We spin, you spin, I spin, we all spin. Typically, people come to leaders with this issue here. And the issue that they first talk about is not really the true issue. They are just caught in the spin. And so all they can do is kind of complain about this symptom that's happening at the top of the spin. And the spin, as we talked about already, is spearheaded by anxiety. So many things out of our control. Like in regular life, things are out of our control, right? How fast the traffic is, all the way to whether or not people show up to work, all the way to if you're working in healthcare and a patient crashing. If you're working in manufacturing, a machine breaking down. Like there are just a million things out of our control that cause the spin, and the spin creates anxiety, right? So what we're trying to do as leaders is help people figure out what they can do down here as root cause to manage that anxiety. So let me add another layer on this to think through how we can really help people do this stuff. All right, so the bottom of the spin is stuff that we can control. Very irritating and small. Up here is stuff out of our control. And when someone comes to you, blah, 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 just ranting about stuff, we need to recognize as leaders that they're spinning and the spin is fueled by anxiety, and we need to help them embrace what they can control. Because if I try to help them fix the issue up here in the pink stuff that's out of their control, we're going to be spinning all day long. That employee is going to go home frustrated, nothing gets better, nothing gets fixed, blah. So we want to help people get down here to the root cause, and that's going to reduce their anxiety, because when we control things that are in our control, our anxiety is reduced. And you're asking yourself, what is the magic answer to do this? Because I don't want to be a therapist and I don't want to be a counselor, yet Carrie's saying as a leader, I have a responsibility to help people manage their anxiety. That's right, that is what I'm saying. So this is the hard, fast fact. When you listen to people, and I'm talking active listening, This is a lifelong journey kind of skill. Nobody gets better at active listening with just a workshop. But what I'm saying is, when you actively listen, truly listening to people, they feel heard. That's it. Just listen. Be still with them. So not passive listening, active. So passive listening is when you're talking and I'm like, It's passive, right? I'm not really engaging. I'm not helping you slow down in that spin to identify what you're saying, what you're spinning around, how all of that looks, right? So in active listening, there's an exchange happening between the person speaking and the person listening, right? It's active. And when that exchange happens, the person speaking starts hearing themselves, becoming a little more cognizant of their spin. They eventually slow down to get to this root cause thing. So, does helping people slow down their spin and reduce their anxiety mean that you're a counselor? No. Does it mean that you have to have therapeutic skills? Well, listening is a therapeutic skill, so maybe a little bit, but that's it. Does it mean that you have to agree or disagree with them? Does it mean that you have to check in on them the next, like all of these things? No, just in that moment. When someone comes to you spinning about something, could be that, the shelves weren't stocked again, this is ridiculous. It could be traffic was terrible, I'm late again. It could be I have 8 hours straight of Zoom meetings today. It could be whatever they're spinning around. Help them slow down to get at why that spin is impacting them. How come it matters? How does it impact their anxiety? What's really behind their reaction to whatever the frustration is in front of them? That's all. In that moment, you just have to listen. It's not checking up on them tomorrow and saying, hey, was traffic better today? Hey, did that shelving unit get restocked the way it should have? Hey, did so-and-so show more respect in the meeting with you? You don't have to do any of that. Just in the moment, when people are spinning, slow down and actively listen to them. When people hear themselves talk, which is the beautiful thing that comes out of active listening, then they hear their spin and they can start thinking through what they can control in this myriad of things that we really don't control. And when people control more of what they can control, then their anxiety reduces. So it's this like beautiful chicken and the egg in the chicken synergy that happens when leaders just slow down with employees to help them be heard so that the employee can hear themselves and then take action around whatever they can control. Now, I use the leader and employee situation as an example. In all fairness, it could be a parent and a kid. Somebody comes in, feeling mistreated from the day at school. Or a partner comes home talking about his or her work day and how it just blew up. Like all of these things, these skills of active listening and the reality that all of us carry a certain degree of anxiety, that's everywhere. Doesn't matter what your job is. Doesn't matter what your role is in society. So what I'm pitching to you is this magical strategy of active listening. It's magical because it works. And it's magical because it's so hard. When you actually listen really well to someone, you do feel like you just waved a magic wand and had some sort of magic happen because the outcome is so great and it's so hard to do that you sort of feel like you channeled some sort of magic to make it all happen good. So that's my strategy and that's my challenge to you. We need you in whatever role you're playing to help people manage their anxiety. It's a responsibility you have. You're engaged, you're listening to this, you're serving your community, your employee, your family, your organization. Serve it well by helping people manage their anxiety, by slowing down through the magical process of active listening. And when we active listen, we can see where we're spinning and we can take more control over what we can control. That was a run-on sentence that I just threw at you with lots of ands because these things really do go together. Almost like pieces of a train, right? How many carts in a train do you have going together? I don't think cart's the right word, but you get what I mean. All right, my name is Carrie. Love working with teams, individuals, organizations to really help them understand interpersonal communication and how much of that communication really influences the dynamics of a situation. So slowing down with you to help reduce that anxiety so you can really build the trust you want in the environment you work in. And then when that trust happens, you get this whole synergy and productivity magic again that comes out of it. So let's touch base. I'd love to hear your comments. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and certainly reach out. Bye.